I got some good sleep, and that's what was needed. But I got permission to stay here for a couple more nights, wait for my Amazon orders to show up. I'm gonna run my own test on my rig just so I know what's going on. The current plan is the front wheel bearings on the truck keep getting really stupid hot and locking up the front wheels or making it hard to turn. I think this is the problem that we've been fighting this whole time. I thought it was a brake buddy and something else. What I think is going on is those bearings are not good, or there's something wrong, or the seal isn't holding the grease in there when it gets warmed up, or the grease I've been using is not the proper grease that's in there, because they're already starting to get hot and lock up again. Last time I drove it into town earlier to get some parts, so I was like, I'm getting some new bearings for this. We're going to replace those bearings on there. However, the parking lot I'm in this shopping center thing with the Columbia Welcome Center to California Welcome Center, that I can park here a couple more days with permission, but I can't do any work here. So there's an off-road vehicle park down to the southeast from here, so I'm gonna baby everything down there, and then I'm gonna run some tests on the ambulance when I get the temperature gauge hooked up on the ambulance for one. And for a little while I thought maybe I was getting taken for a ride at that place, but I do see that they did work on my rig. They just didn't see anything, obviously, and they didn't want to get into it too far. It looks like their backs could only handle the position of working in the back cab so much. So anyhow, I got a high pressure oil pump reader, 3000 psi gauge, designed for measuring that, on order. It's supposed to come on. I got a new map sensor, because whenever I was running computer code, and I'll drop that up there, what I seen earlier when I was driving, it said I was running a negative 1.8 and a 1.6 when I was driving down the road on the turbo, which makes me wonder if the turbo is not turning, even though I got in there and felt it and moved it around and made sure everything's turning, which would, maybe we got a clog in the exhaust system somehow, and that's why we aren't making any boost. That would also cause very similar issues to what we're having. Basically a lack of power at higher RPM and throwing a bunch of bluish black smoke. And they said bluish because it can be from your fuel and a lack of power, and the reason I think that could be is because whenever I was going up a hill earlier, I could hit the throttle and it would take off under it drove like my 1980 non-turbo diesel, and I had to control the throttle and slowly add power to it, because if I pushed down on it, it bogged down. And so I had to give it time for it to go up, like my turbo's not spinning fast enough or something like that. I have no way to really check it. All these things that it might be, I need a gauge in there to check it. So I didn't get a turbo boost gauge, but I did get a new map sensor in case it's reading, because the only reason it would be reading a negative pressure on the intake of the turbo or on the intake of the pistons is if the turbo wasn't working at all, which would drop my pressure down a lot. I should apparently have a positive pressure on the turbo. I use my phone to diagnose stuff a lot. This is an exhaust leak that I've seen on my manifold that will eventually be fixed, but not right now. Anyhow, we ended up not replacing the turbo from before because some of that was to be expected, but we are going to end up replacing it because it just needs to be ruled out. At this point in time, I am at a loss. I don't know turbo diesels that great, and it made sense to me that it was the turbo. And there's a couple things that's happened since I did change the turbo out. One of them, my exhaust clamp jumped off and I gained a lot of power, so there is a possibility that I have a clogged exhaust on this, which is reducing the power it puts out. But we will see. As you look down into the turbo right there, you can see that there's oil in it, and it looks like it's coming from the turbo. Ultimately, that was a deciding factor to replace it.
Exhaust into my engine from my turbo. That's where the smoke's coming from. It looks like I have a lot of blow-by on my turbo. It still feels good. It had a little play in it from the other day. We thought it was, well, there's that play. Hey. Oh, hey. Yeah, that's it. I got it to do it. I got a turbo kit coming in 3 days. So I can push down on it, put a side load on it, and it stops every now and again. Yeah, okay. I think this is our problem. I think our turbo went out on us. And judging by that color there, you kind of can see it. Thought maybe it was going to be on the exhaust side, but the exhaust side looks okay. You know, I mean, the light on it doesn't look as great as it does in the dark.
I've been around Colorado or California a lot because their new anti-diesel laws. No one in the commercial fields are allowed to work on older diesels, even if they're in the RVs. So I've run into trouble trying to find anyone willing or able to work on it.
You hear that sound? Let's play the turbo seal.
So if we don't get it fixed here, we'll be babying it 2.5 hours to the east to Arizona so we can have an option of getting it repaired.
Yeah, I think a rebuild kit will fix the problem. I don't think we need a new engine after all. Now my question is, did they just see dollar signs, or were they just going off of my descriptions and decided to hook it up and got it to do the thing? But yeah, that has a lot of play in it.
Or most mechanics here don't want to work on an E450 because it's a van body and it's a pain in the ass.
I've never tore apart a turbo before. That'll be fun. I'll probably put it back together for now, and then we're going to go play with, we got a turbo kit coming in, a generic turbo kit for it that we'll probably do. I think that's our problem.
Oh, so wrong. Every single thing that I keep messing with makes it a little bit better, but it's not the problem that we currently have.
Oil around this thing, but it looks okay. Look down in there. Pretty clean, right? And that other stuff.
The grayness on there is gasket material to help prevent it from leaking.
Where's all this other oil? Is that oil from the intake coming in? Why is this all oily right there?
And you see that oil there?
Next question.
That oil right there is part of my
I'll loosen
current
these up
problem.
and redo them because they look like they've been over tightened. And that one's all oily right there. And there's my intake. It's like blowing out of my freaking turbo. I think my turbo's fixing to go out. I think a rebuild kit will do it.
Overbreather, because that's how this engine works.
There's
It blows
oil
it out.
on my intake. It's not. I mean, when I was doing the blow by, I checked it earlier. I mean, it could still be blowing by from that one breather thing. We could get a new one of those. But I think that's the source of our problem. But he's not producing any boost. It's part of it. It's like I was testing and I had no boost. And it's like, I have no boost. What's that mean? Oh, I'm just trying to run a diesel like a natural aspirated engine, which it doesn't do very well. I think there's a little bit of damage right there on that O-ring.
Or I really do have internal problems, and that's just the consequences of it.
That might be the source of my leak underneath here anyhow.
Ah, yes. Picky on the stuff. Anyhow, so
I won't be moving for the few days it takes to get that turbo kit in. Let's listen to my instincts. I should.
I'm just starting from the easiest to access first and moving back into the engine as deep as I need to, because I don't want to tear into this thing any more than the mechanics did. I was just willing to pay someone to do it, and they didn't want to even do it, so it's like, oh man, so now I had to do it. So that's where we're at right now.
Yep, that's it. I'm sure of it. I'm going to go loosen these up and clean up on these boots here and check this one out, make sure there's no holes in this. But, yep. Alright, to recap. We need a turbo for the main rig. That's what's causing our problems, I think. Mainly because we have, let's see. We need a turbo for the main rig because of all the smoke that comes out of it. And the reason I think that is because of the smoke
And when we pulled it off a second ago, it was just covered in oil on the intake coming from the turbo thing. And then whenever I couldn't do it the other day, but I just did it just now. Like trash, making it blows everywhere. I couldn't do it the other day, but I did it now. I reach my hand in there. If I put a side load on it, it should still turn with the side load on it. If it doesn't, it actually stops. So my turbo is sitting there getting too much pressure in it on the side load, stopping the turbo from spinning, and then on top of it is puking oil out on the intake whenever I rev the engine up, trying to get it going, and it just throws smoke everywhere. And then it drives like a non-turbo diesel, which is almost nothing. And they should have been able to catch that at that shop. They didn't. They went with my estimation that the engine was blown. I wanted to reconfirm it with someone in case I was wrong, because there's so many things it could be. They went that way probably just to try to get money or something. I don't know. They ended up only getting $200 diagnostics fee out of me, and I left. They kept stretching the time out when they could do it. So anyhow, bad manufacturer, power stroke thing. They say they replace them all the time, but they're good motors, so it's stupid stuff. Anyhow, I had to go to O'Reilly's to get it. I'm just going to get a remanufactured one because I can get it in tomorrow. I'll have to wait for that part to get here on Thursday because I ordered a rebuild kit for it. I can get it in tomorrow. I can put it on there. I can find out really quickly if that's it. But I had to get this wheel bearing thing fixed on the truck. So we're going to do the wheel bearings again, because the other day whenever I drove over to O'Reilly's, by the time I got back, and see how it's all dirty, which is weird. By the time I got back, this hub was so hot I couldn't even touch it, which means they're still working. What I think is happening is there's no seal between here and there. It's gone. And the wheel seal's gone on the other side. What I'm thinking is it warms up, expands, the grease turns into liquid, which it's supposed to do, but then it gets spun out or thrown out, and therefore making this dry bearing again and making it get hot. So we're gonna throw some of our safeties underneath here, and we're gonna jack this up and get this wheel off again and fix our problems again, or try to anyhow. I gotta pull this off, and yeah, I'm working in the sand. I don't like the sand, but I need to get this done. I need to go get the parts. I have Amazon orders that's supposed to come today. And I need this thing working. God, that's not as tight as some. I'm using the original jack. Came with the truck. So this is the third time I've done these ball joint or bearings. And it's like, okay, I'm done. At least I'm not doing it in a sketchy parking lot in the middle of town with people scoping me out all the time. I don't have to deal with that right now. That sucked the other day when I did that. Okay, should be some pliers for that. I might be able to hand tighten it. Anyhow, where's the best spot? Yeah. Well, anyhow, I got the wheels out. The new bearings that I bought don't match, so I'm just going to repack these with the red high temperature grease. Throw a new seal on it, seal up the other side with the gasket maker, and then we're just going to throw it back together and go back together, and we'll do the other side too the same way. But this side looks better. It had some gasket maker in there making the seal, so I don't think this one had as much trouble as that one. Apparently that one was the hot one, and I just can't keep my mind straight. Anyhow, I'm doing what I shouldn't do and hang my brake lines. Probably should get some new brake lines looking at those. Anyhow, that's it. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. See if I can show you how to pack the grease. I don't know if I'll be able to do that or not. Recording? Recording. Still recording. Yes, we're still recording. Okay, so when you're packing grease, you take a handful of grease. It's nasty when you have to do it by hand, but it works just as good as regular. You take it. You want to do is you want to take a handful of grease and you want to shove it like right in there. And what you're trying to do is
Just keep filling in that void behind it. The point, you see how it starts pushing out there? And you're gonna get messy doing this. But as you do it, you just squeeze it in. You see the old nasty grease going out it and the red grease coming behind it. You can see it right there, the nasty grease. It was gross to do, but it works, and it's better than buying a tool. I'm trying to do this upside down with the camera recording. It's kind of annoying. But at least we know it'll be done right this time. Unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to put the new seal on because I went to put the new seal on and it was too big or too small. And same thing with the gear or the new wheel bearings are too small too. So and what's bad is I got too small from two different stores because O'Reilly's and from AutoZone both give me too small ones because I got them from AutoZone thinking they'd be cheaper. Nope. Still have to deal with them. So anyhow, I'm gonna repack these, shove them in there, throw some grease on it. I think I babied that one enough that it will do okay. I'll put high temperature grease in here, so it should do better too. I tend to use always high temperature grease on all my systems. As long as you pack them in there and you get it where it comes out the top, you know you got enough in there. We're doing this in a very nasty environment to be doing this in. But it is what it is. You only control so much. God, it's all over me. Yeah. Okay, where's my hands? And this is why I want to be near my main rig whenever I did this. So I'd have enough paper towels to do this because doing bearings are gross. And you wear gloves, but they're gonna break on you, and you're gonna just be doing the same thing that I'm doing right now. And keep a bag handy so you can throw all your bags away. Sorry. And move on from there. And by the way, they are definitely cutting down how much grease you get in these things anymore. Oh god, this is gross. Alright, that one's done. Hands clean. You'll go through a lot of paper towels when you do this. Yeah, it's back on there. I'm going to go ahead and throw the screws back on here, tighten it down to spec, and go on to the next one. We'll move over there, and then we're probably going to have to do some rigging on the next one because I don't have a rear main seal or the rear seal that works, but I know it needs grease. I pushed it in here and moved around. I can still spin it when I push it down, so the way less play than the other one has. So this looks like the exact same. You know, we're going with it because there is a lot of oil in the other one, and everything looks pretty much the same thing. Looks like it's been bead blasted at some point, which would make sense. It's a remanufactured. Everything feels better. I figure it's easier just to get a new turbo and install it on there than trying to rebuild it out here with limited resources anyhow. Otherwise I would have tried to do it myself.
there are my seals to go on and instructions, and I'm going to read those instructions and put those seals on. There's this nice fine layer of dust everywhere here because we're in a sandy location. So I gotta drop the other turbo back off. I assembled it last night in case I had to do some makeshift moving really quick, but I didn't really put it all the way together because I just didn't want to do it. But I'll get this back off. To remove the turbo, hang on. To remove the turbo, you gotta remove these two mounting bolts for the air cleaner. Then I remove this. It makes coming this off really easy. And then I can remove these two bolts, this clamp, this clamp. I have to pull these screws out and lift this Y pipe off and these two screws, if I didn't already just say that. And then this whole thing will pull off really quick and easy. It's just a bunch of loosening the right stuff. And when you go back together, you put this on, you drop your turbo back onto the pedestal, make sure that the O-rings are set right. You have this attached to the back of the turbo, kind of halfway like it is now. And you set it on that with the turbo down on it, and you just drop it straight down. It's not too terribly heavy, and once you got it tightened down, you tighten down the turbo first, then you tighten down this clamp on the back of the turbo second. Then you go ahead and put on these clamps here, and just leave them loose. Make sure this one is lined up right on the intake Y, and they can tighten everything down from there. And then you tighten these up, and these will give you a good seal. So you do that one after attaching the turbo, and then these, and then you align this one up and do this one over here. All right, I'm running out of data. I have a new hard drive coming in today, a new hard drive, and then I got some new spark plugs that are going to go on the truck too. And then I got a new hard drive, and I got a new exhaust clamp for this one here, so I can kill that exhaust leak hopefully. And I need to check the exhaust leak down here because it looked like I had a leak down there. All right, we got the turbo on now, the new turbo. I'm just finishing tightening everything else down. I'm still waiting on the exhaust clamp. I may try to make the old one work, and to see if this is our problem. I still have I kind of suspect it's our problem because the other one wouldn't turn, and it acts like there's no turbo. Sorry, I turned up the quality on this so I could see how well it would do. I got like 23 minutes of record time. Looks good on there. We pre-lubed it and then let it soak into the bearings for a little bit, cleaned it up, put some new seals and gaskets on it, and made sure that was cleared out, and filled it full of oil. Yeah, this finished tightening this up. We'll see if it, we'll see. All right, we just did a quick little test drive around here, and we have power again. Unfortunately, the exhaust clamp broke on me, so I can't drive it like that. I have another one on order. It's supposed to be at O'Reilly's around 11 today. I will probably call them. It means another round trip into town, which is like 12 miles round trip, which will be kind of annoying. New 60 frames look way better on this. I should do 60 frame on this more if I can. Anyhow, yeah, I think we got it fixed. I won't confirm it until later on, until we can do some proper test drives with a load on it and just going down the road. But I think we got it. I think it was a turbo this whole time, and I think the shop either just wanted money or they didn't want to mess with vans and was telling me the worst thing possible and putting the time off every time. So we'll research that and leave them a nice pretty review later on once we verify this is the problem. We're a little farther away from here. New transmission, all that fun stuff. Blowing exhaust out there. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Unfortunately, after we got the exhaust clamped up, we took it on a longer drive and we had no power. So that leads the problem to be either in the exhaust or under the valve cover. But at low speeds we have plenty of power. It's just when we get up to higher speeds we have no power. Also, it could also be the PCM or power control module. At the time of this recording I do have one on order. I'm just waiting for it to get here. And maybe that's why the transmission's acting funny, because it controls the timing on that also. We'll find out. Just stay tuned and we'll find the problem eventually. That or we're going to be driving about 20 miles an hour over to Arizona. Up to Aj's place. That'll be fun! 20 mile an hour. Yay! Alright, take care. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Definitely subscribe if you want to find out how we get this fixed, or if we ended up replacing it and then the shop was right. Alright, take care. Bye.